Hi everyone, good evening. Okay, okay, let's try again. Good evening everyone. Can you hear me please? Okay, hi, thank you, Aida. Welcome, welcome. So we'll be starting very soon. Just okay, just a few more minutes. Okay, so we can go ahead to start now. Good evening, everyone. I hope you're doing great. Um, Hope I'm excited for IWD as I am. So let me just do a quick introduction. Please confirm you can hear me, just so I know that you're following me. Okay, so my name is Tomisi. Nice to see everyone here. I can see so many faces. I don't want to start calling names, but I just really enjoying us to participate fully in this evening's session. It's going to be a really chill time. And I think what's most important is the fact that we have women across different levels here, people who have gone ahead, people who are, right where at a starting point, and we can just rub minds and as women discuss the things, the literal things that we're going through, that we're having to walk through. So I'm excited about tonight, and I hope we're excited too, and I enjoy us to participate fully. Feel free to raise up your hand if you'd like to say anything, right, or just unmute and just chip in one or two things. So we have our mentors here already, many of whom will be speaking to us this evening. And we'll just take a few more minutes to settle in. We'll start by 6:35, right? So just settle in. Thank you. Okay, welcome everyone again. So we'll just start. I was trying to play back music in the background, but that's not working out. So let's just go ahead. Welcome again. We're starting our panel by 8:50. So before then, we'd just like to discuss all around. I'd like you to, raise up your hand when you have an opinion. Like I said, my name is Tomisi, and we have a full house tonight, right? So happy International Women's Day, everyone. And I'd just like us to quickly discuss, why IWD is important to us. For one, IWD is extremely important to me. As a female in STEM, it's directs all of decisions that I'm making and the job that I'm currently doing. And, is a train of thoughts that I put before me whenever I have anything to do, right? It's something that keeps me working. It's something I'm very conscious about challenges that women have had to face in the workplace and how to navigate it, right? So a day that celebrates the accomplishments of women across different generations, and that celebrates the accomplishments of women across different spheres is definitely a day I am excited about. So I'd like to hear from us, anybody online tonight. What does IWD mean to you? Just share. Anyone? Okay. Okay. Can we hear me? Okay, someone said she can't hear anything. Can we hear me, please?
Yes, we can
Yes,
hear
I
you.
can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure if anybody can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. Hi, good evening. Okay, I can hear you now. So thank you. So who wants to speak? Who wants to tell us what IWD means to her?
Hi, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Yeah, so to me, I think IWD to me means like it's a day. It's not just a day. Like it's a day celebrated in many countries. I
Okay.
think it's a day that we recognize women for their achievements without regards to divisions, ethnic, cultural, economic, or political barriers and all that. Yeah, just a day that we celebrate women for their achievements and all that.
Mm,
That's what I understand by that.
IWD. Okay. So are you excited about IWD? Does it excite you when
Yeah,
it's time?
it
IWD?
excites it excites me because
Okay.
like okay I'm learning product design with Tech for Dev. So we I went for a program like for IWD just to talk to secondary school girls about their
Okay.
careers and how
Mm,
so
that's
like
great.
so it's so after I went there yesterday, so like after I've not done that before, that will be my first time of doing that. So
Wow.
it's really, really made a lot of sense to me. Like I now understand why women actually need to be celebrated and all that.
Okay.
So I'm actually really, really excited about it. And I don't know, I can't wait
Mm.
for tomorrow so that I can share a lot on social media.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you so
yeah.
much. I'm so excited. So, and that's like great work, because I feel like one of the most important thing about this occasion of celebration is that it just brings to mind a lot of female people that need help, right? And you're in a position to offer whatever little help that you can, even if you feel like, oh, I'm not as, achieved as some of people that I'm looking up to, right? There's still a lot to do. So thank you so much for sharing. Anybody else wants to share with us what they feel about IWD? Thank you. Please participate though. We might have gifts for our participants. So anybody else wants to say a few things?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. My name is Elbethel. I'm from Ethiopia, and I wanna talk about how I feel about
Okay.
International Women's Day. So, it makes me feel really good, because as most of you have noticed, I'm sure, like a lot of women who have achieved like great things are being recognized on social media posts And like there are a lot of online events, even in-person events, recognizing these women for what they have done, and also bringing light to the issue that is like women's health and generally like women's education, young girls' education, how much severe the problem is till this day. So I really like the fact that we're giving the issues a little bit more attention. And it's a very good reminder, not only for us women, but also for the general public. This is something that, we really need to keep working on. And we really, as women also, need to encourage each other, like we need to help each other, and we need to learn from other women also who have achieved great things. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Alberto. Yeah, that was good. That was very spot on, right? Because I know that supporting other women in STEM is one of the ways that we can really bring each other up, right? So thank you for sharing. I'm excited. I'm particularly excited about this year's IWD. I have no idea why, right? So I'm just particularly excited, and I think it's because this first time I've been, emotionally involved. Other times it just happens and you're like, oh, okay, IWD, nice. But this time around I'm like, involved emotionally and excited for the possibilities that it holds. So yes, thank you for sharing your bit though. Anyone else? We can take one person before we introduce our beautiful panel. So anyone else wants to say one of a few things about how they feel concerning IWD?
Hi everyone.
Hi.
Hi everyone. My name is Chineye Adeleye, and I would say I'm particularly excited about this International Women's Day for the theme, invest in women, accelerate progress. Because I'm one of the people that believe that when you invest in women, when you invest in women, I think when you train a woman, you're training a nation. We have that, yes, we have that soft spot to want to invest in other people. So when you're training a woman, you're not just training a woman. It's just like a seed that's going to, evolve into a tree. So I'm really excited about the theme. And in fact, I've created a video. I was one of the people that pushed my company to do like a proper campaign video 2 weeks ago, so to celebrate International Women's Day. I'm just very excited that we get to celebrate women, because a lot of women are doing amazing stuff. And sometimes while we are not very bold enough to come out to say what we are doing, so I'm very happy about it. I know that a lot of women are going to be celebrated tomorrow, and you don't even have to wait for platforms to celebrate you. Celebrate yourself, because you're one. Yeah, I think that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing, Chineye. To be honest, I love the point you made about when you train a woman, you're training a generation, because it's just so true. You're training a generation, and not investing in women already like stifles and hampers like a whole generation of people that would come from that, because visions are hampered and so many other things. But anyway, we're going to be discussing all of that later this evening, right? But I really love the point you made about training a generation when you train women. And so I like that to be our mindset, even as we continue in today's discussion, right? And even as you go ahead to whatever everything else that you're doing out there, to have a mindset that you are like a legacy for people coming behind. And it's not until you do maybe something that appears like the most awesome thing to everyone else, but not just doing exceptional work in whatever your hand finds to do. You're a legacy for people coming behind you. You're an inspiration for people that do not have an opportunity to be where you are, right? And I think that's just something we should take note of and celebrate ourselves, like she said, right? Get something for yourself, dress beautifully, take a picture, right? And just be happy. Okay, thank you so much, Tine. So this year's theme is about investing in women and inspiring inclusion all around, right? I know that inclusion is an extremely important topic, to be honest, in the workplace, right? So if you've had experience working in a workplace that is mostly male dominated, right, you definitely would have come to terms with some, even no matter how, the funny thing is, no matter how these companies are like, open to women, and, they have this inclusion policy, just indirectly, they're just these subtle, pinches that kind of affects you when you're a woman compared to when you're a guy. So navigating the nuances of that, knowing how to work, knowing how to do exceptional work, and to make an excellent mark where you are, right? That's extremely important. So we're going to be discussing this evening. So it's time for me to introduce my beautiful, beautiful panel. Okay, everybody here is beautiful, please, but and just especially welcome the people that will be taking us through this evening. But just know that if you have any opinions, you can still put them in, right? We would like to hear everybody's opinion generally. So our first panel member tonight is M.A.C.H. Kwambe. I'm not sure if she's on the call yet though. Okay, yes, she's. I can see her. So M.A.C.H. is a software developer. Okay, so I'm just going to be giving a very brief overview, right? Very brief. And I'll leave the women to give us like an in-depth overview of what it is that they're passionate about and what it is that they really do. Okay, so M.A.C.H. is a software developer passionate about human-centered interactive design, product management, and community, right? So M.A.C.H. comes to us with years of experience, but like I said, I'm going to leave her to do our introduction as she intends, right? Our second panel member is Good News Akindele, who has 10 years experience in STEM and is currently an electronics engineer. Please, you can unmute to clap or you can just react to the clap in the chat button. Thank you so much. So I'm giving them the ovation here. So our third panel member is Mary James Sibe. She works in oil and gas, managing an upstream production company. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're excited to meet you. And fourth panel member is Ashama Yami Rama. Yes, beautiful name. She's a product manager, and she's a product manager. So like I said, I'm going to leave our panelists to introduce themselves a bit better. So let's just start with Mercy. Hi, Mercy. Good evening. Do you want to give us a quick introduction?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Sorry.
Please feel free to use your videos. Nigeria like is my obstruction, but if you'd like to be on video, please feel. Thank you.
Okay, this is so that you can see who I am. Hi, my name is M.A.C.H. Kwambe. I am an interaction designer. So I had a background in software engineering and now changing course to interaction design and especially research. I don't know what am I supposed to say. I'm happy to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so much. Okay, that's fine. So good news. Do you want to say a few words of introduction?
Okay. Hello everyone. Good evening.
Hi.
Good Nigeria. Good day to everyone.
Good evening.
Yeah, my name is Good News, like you mentioned. I'm an electronics engineer. I mean, that's like what I've been doing and what I did. I had my first degree in electronics engineering, and for a while I was in the industry. I worked as a solar engineer, renewable energy, and all that. So yeah, and done a bit of project management. Currently, I'm doing a PhD in electronics engineering. So yeah, that's a bit about me and my engineering journey. Yeah, so that's just the introduction to me. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. That was a good introduction.
But yeah,
Ooh,
I'm shy, so.
Okay, thank you. We have quite a number of seasoned people here with us. It's quite exciting. Okay, Mary James Sibe, would you like to give us an introduction, please?
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I don't know what else to introduce because you had already done a little bio, but I'll just say
Okay.
that yes, I work in the oil and gas sector. I worked across my career across different fields. We have different product lines from drilling, completion, upstream and downstream. So I've actually gone across this sphere. I've always been in the oil and gas sector. Presently, I'm trying to diversify and apply my skills in different areas, but that's my technical niche. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's go to Yami Rama Ashama.
Hi everyone. At first so good, and maybe I should just say Happy International Women's Day, and that's why we're
Thank you.
here. Yeah. Yeah, okay, well, you already said my name. You can call me Yami Do. And
Okay.
then I currently work as a product manager. I've been in product for about 4 years now, I think. Yeah, and it feels like that's all I've been doing. Well, before that, I did a bit of product design.
Okay.
Yeah, and also customer experience before pivoting fully into product management. And
Okay.
that's pretty much what I've been doing alongside other things that come up here and there.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. So we have, thank you so much, everyone. Please feel free to put your questions in chat box, raise up your hand. This is a completely interactive session. Please, thank you. Okay, so we have some discussion points, but I'd just like to ask a question, based off of the introductions that I've heard and the experiences that these women have had. So what has been one of your most challenging moments working as female in STEM? What has been one of your most challenging moments, and how were you able to navigate it, right? So let me start with good news, right? I'm just going to be shuffling, right? So good news, please tell us, what has been one of your most challenging moments as a woman in STEM, and how did you navigate it?
Okay, thank you for the question. Okay, most challenging moments. I mean, they're always okay, but I'm going to start this way. Okay,
Okay.
finishing school, I knew I was going to practice engineering, and one way to stay in engineering is have the experience, because really nobody's going to like take you if you don't have experience in engineering and all that. So getting the experience was one. So I got into like a renewable energy company. They install solar panels and all of that. And it means, so I was taken as a solar engineer, graduate engineer and all that. And I was paired with like engineers on site, male engineers. So for me to like meet up to my quota or to my job role or job description, it means I had to do what they were doing. And nobody cared if you were female, male. Of course, not like they don't care about your gender or anything, but the idea is, okay, this is what you want to do, this is what the role entails, and you have to do it. And it was actually hard because knowing, climbing roofs, installing solar panels, of course, I had a lot of help, but to be very honest, that was challenging at first because I'm like, what exactly am I looking for here? But because there was a bigger picture, I understood that okay, this is part of the journey, and you needed to do this. I had to I was able to like have my way, and other people that were like able to help and all that. So yeah, to be very honest, I think that was one of my most challenging because I was not even in Lagos. I was like in Kano, and all
Wow.
of that. I was trying to like navigate. Okay, I want to do engineering. How do I do all of this? But I mean, spending a few months, some years there, made me get better, and because that one is past now. But yeah, at the
Okay.
beginning, no, it wasn't easy, but over time it got better and all that. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing. I think one of the things I picked most from what you mentioned was the fact that, you had to do it, especially at that time. And just kind of emphasizes the fact that like there are seasons, right? So there might be like hard work, right? Or
Yeah,
harder work in context
yeah,
that you need to do at this moment that you might not necessarily keep doing,
exactly.
towards
Yeah,
the end of your time, but you needed to put in that work there because you're
that
looking
was
at the
yeah,
big picture. So
yeah, that's good. Thank
thank you. That's such an important point, to be honest, right? Because I can't imagine how that felt if I was in such a situation. I just like, hey, God, right? But yeah, I think looking at bigger picture just helps you weather the storm, especially when you have a clarity of where it is you're actually going to. Okay, so
you. Yeah,
let's go to the next
thank you.
panelist. Thank you so much. Good news. Maybe James Seabay, could you just share with us quickly your most challenging moment and how you navigated it?
Okay, I will. Thank you. Um, one of my most challenging moments was when I started having children. So I've been working, obviously, the oil and gas sector. When I started my career, we were two girls in my firm. I worked to Baker Hughes. You didn't have women, so they didn't even know how to handle female engineers. But it was fine because I was single at that point, and then I got married, and I didn't have children immediately. Once I started having children, obviously I couldn't operate in the same way that I could at that same efficiency. Um, so it was then a choice between how do I, you know, how do I continue to be effective at work, and how do I be a good mom So I didn't want to choose either or. I wanted to see how I could have it all. But I realized quickly that you have to create a balance. You can't have it all. Some days you have to spend more time at work. Some days you have to spend, you have to balance it out and find ways to make it up at home. So what really helped me was having to build a support system. I had to create a system by myself, outsource things, and create a support system for myself at home so I could have stability to thrive in my career. Because at work, you're not going to get, unfortunately, I didn't have the right support in terms of the who I was working with. I didn't have the right support from that end. So I had to create my support system to get the balance at home so that I could give me the leverage to travel when I needed to and to still be effective at work. That was a challenging period when I, just started having children, but I was able to navigate that and had a balance. So that's
Wow.
it.
Thank you so much for sharing. That's so real and so relatable. I feel like that's something that many times we don't really discuss, right? How a woman sometimes has to, prioritize between family and, career, right? It can be a very delicate balance. But I like how you said that you had to learn to build support systems, right? So I really like for us to take notes, right? Important notes. I'm taking notes too, right? Because some of these things are quite important. I was watching a video this evening by Indra Nooyi, ex-CEO of PepsiCo, and she was saying exactly this challenge that you just said, how she had to navigate being a mother to her children, and for each level of advancement that she had at work, her family also needed her at an advanced level. So her children from toddlers became teenagers that needed attention, her husband, then her parents also were getting aged, right? And so it's just quite a delicate balance. And so I think trying to being able to establish that balance and creating a support system, right? Because she said one of the ways that she was able to manage it was because of her husband, right? So that's a support system. So just walking around the support system really helps us navigate that, right? Thank you so much for sharing. Let's go to Yami.
All right. So to be honest, I'm not sure I can recall any challenge that I would say specifically because of my gender, but I mean, I'll just share one challenge that comes to mind. So when I started my role as a product manager, there was no, I literally built like the product team at CAWSTEM, right? Because there was no other person who was handling products in an official capacity at the time. What we had was more of engineers, designers, and maybe the executives who were just chipping in and everybody sort of playing, some sort of product management role, but nobody who was particularly responsible for it. And I had to evolve into that role. And I remember when I joined, we had a very so like our engineering team was mostly made of guys than you would have like ladies. And engineering team here is engineering design products, right? So I think for me it was a bit challenging like easing into that process because I didn't really get to see, maybe other people who I would say look like me in that sense. But I think what helped would be the fact that I don't know that I can pinpoint a time in career-wise where I felt like people treated me differently because of my gender, right? And I guess that's maybe kudos to the guys on the team, but I know we've been able to like manage that interaction where you don't, so I don't feel like I'm doing certain things simply because I'm the only female person on the team or I'm one of the females on the team, but rather there's just been that constant support, right? Navigating that journey was actually one of the engineers who I would say in some way acted as my support system or mentor to like help me ease into the process to figure out things, just giving me like the launch pad to get started, and then I eventually was able to build something out of that. Yeah, so I can't say that I have specific like gender issues, but in terms of challenge, it would just be, I mean, easing into people who have been supportive and respectful, and not necessarily treating me based off my gender, but just realizing that this is a human being like me, and she definitely has something to bring to the table, and we're here for that.
Okay, thank you so much, Mami. Yummy. Sorry about that. Thank you so much, Yummy.
That's
Okay,
fine.
so yeah, I love your experience, right? It's unique in its way. You can't pinpoint any time that you had such a challenge based on gender, and that's beautiful. That's cool. That's great, right? I also like how you mentioned that you had to build from scratch, because I think that's something that a lot of us would need to learn. Currently where the world is at, right? There are a lot of new roles to easily fit into, right? And you're going to need to learn to build from scratch. So thank you so much for sharing. I think it's beautiful, and kudos to Curry, right? Like you said again, right? For that. That's cool. That's good. Okay, so let's just take lastly, M.A.C.H. Kwambi. Okay, not lastly, fourthly, M.A.C.H. Kwambi.
Yeah, for me, maybe I can share an experience I had in the first software engineering job I had. So I got into a role where I had to learn a whole new programming language and framework that I didn't know before. So it was a big challenge for me, and the team was all male, and they were like already familiar with each other. So I was new, and I felt like they weren't quick to help me when I had questions and when I was unsure about something. And even one of them at some point questioned my skills, but I had quite a tough learning curve because of the new things that I had to learn. So I felt like they didn't want me to be part of the team, really, because I was learning something new. And I felt like it was such a challenge for me to get into the team, and them constantly questioning my skill. But what I did is I surrounded myself with a community where they constantly encouraged me, and I took nights to study and just to be at the same level sort of with them in skill wise. To be honest, it was really hard. But I am glad of the friends that I had and the sacrifice I had to skill up and just prove my worth to the team. I think that's one of the challenges that I can share.
Okay, thank you so much, Mercy. And well done, right? Well done, well done. I think that sometimes when we go through some of these tough situations, right, where you have to exert extra effort and go the extra mile and all of that stuff, beyond how hard it is for us, it really builds us up, right? And so the knowledge that you have gotten from taking extra time to build up yourself is something that is with you permanently, right? Nobody can, take that away from you, right? And I think that's just a plus side sometimes to some of these challenges that women have to face. So another perspective is to look at it, because I know I have also had to learn to look at it from that perspective, right? Whatever I'm learning, the extra effort I'm having to put in is for myself, most importantly, right? Everything else is going to pass, everybody else, and opinions and how they, okay, thank you, Betel, opinions and how they perceive me is really temporal, right? But what's not temporal is the investments I make into myself, the decisions I make for myself. And so instead of, being very blinded by how unfair the situation is and all of that, right? I just focus more on, where I'm going, the bigger picture, like Chinere said. Right. But thank you so much, Mercy, for sharing. Thank you so much. And I'm happy you had encouragement. And that's what communities like CAWSTEM exist for, right? I remember when I finished school some years back and I came out, school academic setting is completely different from actual work setting. And I was just completely lost, right? I didn't know how to put together my CVs. I didn't know how to position myself. And so I had academic strengths, but I didn't have real world applicable strengths, or how to, convert my strengths into a story that people actually want to listen to. And it was really frustrating. I remember the first few months after my NYSC, I was just like, God, what is actually happening? It was extremely frustrating, but joining CAWSTEM was like a refresher for me, right? I met people and there were tips, there were courses to join, there were discounted opportunities, and all of that, and it just really helped me. It built up my confidence. It did a lot, right? So I really feel Mercy when she says, joining a community that encouraged that worked for her. So thank you so much, Mercy. Yes, so like I said, if you have any questions, please shoot it at us. Okay, so Alberto says that problem is a bit more pronounced when you are younger women. Okay, I feel like that's a perspective, right? That's a perspective, right? Younger women, that's actually a perspective too, because you also have people that are concerned about the fact that you're a woman and you're younger, so you should not communicate in a particular manner. That's an issue for another day, right? But yes, so okay, I'm going to go to my next question, right? So what do we feel about the state of inclusion in STEM currently, right? So if you were to rate based on the happenings around you and all of that stuff. Oh, mama's iPhone, you're with me on this NYSC. It was tough. Anyways, so what do we feel about the state of inclusion in STEM, right? Is STEM inclusive, right? I know definitely we've had years of improvement, years of development. We're definitely better in 2024 than we were, about 50 years ago, right? But definitely there's still room for improvement. So I just like you to share, is STEM currently inclusive, and how do you feel it can be better made inclusive for women, right? So let's start with Yami. Okay.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll say that I think in terms of inclusion, we've made some progress. Yeah, let me put it that way. We've made some progress compared to what it used to be, right? We're having more people we're having more women in science fields, in engineering fields, and all the other fields that typically we would, I mean, if you were to count maybe 10 people, they'll be all male, right? But like now, if you're counting 10, you might at least find one or two women in that circle. So I would say we've made some progress, but is there room for growth? Yes, I would say there's still room for growth. There's still room for us to have fields like that be more of a mix of people of both genders. And in terms of what we can do, I would say one of it is really just the more women we have coming to these places, the more women we will see coming to these places. So by that, I mean, there's a tendency for us to want to do things, or maybe I would use the word give ourselves permission to do things or feel like this is something for us when we see other people who are sort of doing those things, right? So if I see a Jumoke or Messi who is doing something that I feel drawn to, it kind of affirms me in a way and makes me want to actually go after that particular thing, right? So I would say the more women we see coming to spaces like that, the more we give ourselves permission, right? And I think that's like one of the very first things. It's actually we as women giving ourselves permission to go after the dreams, go after the visions, go after the passions that we have, right? Because when you do that, what you do is you're also giving another woman the permission to step into those spaces, right? To go after our own dreams and also come out. And it just has like a ripple effect, right? So one person going into something would lead to, maybe two other people, and that two becomes four, and then we see more people, right? I would also say that, so I think earlier on somebody mentioned something about going to schools, where she was talking about, I think, careers in STEM or something like that. I also know that that's going to be something that is useful right? So going to like just engaging people, engaging the younger ones, right from the moment where they've not even had to make, you know, those firm decisions about their careers, but you're opening their minds up to realize that their options are not restricted to just a select industry or to certain kind of activities, but that there are other things that they can do, right? And I think it still ties back to the first thing I said. If one woman gives herself permission to go after the things that she feels drawn to, it has a ripple effect, right? So because someone who is in secondary school, is in primary school, would see that and would be spurred to also go after, you know, the things that they want to go after. So yeah, I think I'll just stop there so I don't keep talking for long. For in summary, right? More women giving themselves permission to shine and allowing their lights, just out there would also give other women the courage to do the same.
Okay, thank you so much, Yami. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think that all you shared is really profound, to be very honest, right? Because one of the things that encourages and challenges people definitely is like sight, right? Like you mentioned. And so the more women you can see doing a particular thing that feels unattainable previously, and you see someone, you're like, oh, okay, she's just like me. Okay, I can do this too, right? And so I think it's important, like you mentioned, to share. We're going to come back to sharing, though. Watching this time like cautiously, but we're going to come back to sharing, because I think sharing is something that we as women need to learn, navigating how to properly communicate your strengths, communicate your successes, and share. And beyond that, being able to mentor people, like teaching programs you mentioned. So those are really important points, right? Thank you. Okay, so let me just go to Mercy quickly. Mercy, do you feel STEM is inclusive, and how do you think it can be made better?
I agree with what the previous person have just said about a lot has been done, yes, but I feel like there's so much that needs to be done. And there are like different things or different angles to look at it. It cannot be inclusive completely yet because of like stereotypes and biases, or just how the structural or the systems have been like all the years back. But I agree also that there has been a lack of role models, and I feel like role models are one of the things that can really help narrow this barrier or remove the biases that are there. I can give an example of myself. I think one of the major reasons I really got into tech and stuck with it was because of mentorship program. So I got part of it, got to see women who have gone beyond the biases or the stereotypes and really became really great leaders in the tech industry. And through that, I was encouraged by looking up to this role models and mentors who provided me with guidance and support, as well as inspiration. And I think through this, I myself was a product of this. So I think mentorship is one of the really big things that can be done to help or influence STEM to be an inclusive field. And I think I agree with what she said about the impact that looking up to someone causes, or the thing it stars like really a big motivation in someone just to see people who have gone ahead and succeeded. And besides this, I think also promoting awareness and also advocating for diversity and equity can go in a long way to ensure that STEM is inclusive. Yeah, and I think with these things, in the years to come, as we have seen good progress in the past years, and I think STEM will completely become an inclusive field. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Mercy. So just like both Mercy and Yami have said, right, mentorship and role models, right? Just in summary, mentorship and role models. And so I want us to note this down because, at whatever sphere that we are at different points in our lives, we are kind of at a point to be able to give this to some people, right? At whatever point that we are at each point in our lives, right? And so we're learning how to make STEM more inclusive. And so if every person on this call, takes a step towards making STEM more inclusive, right? Because, nobody's really going to do it for us, right? Nobody's going to just suddenly wake up and say, oh, okay, I want to make STEM more inclusive for women all around the world. They've complained for so long, so let me just do it now. Let me press a few buttons and make it happen. Right? Nobody's really going to do that for us. So, but we can do that in our own spheres of influence with your siblings, with people around you, by being a role model and by also providing mentorship for them. So that's 2 points, right? So let's take some more points. So let's go to good news. So is STEM inclusive and how can it be made better?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, of course. Standing on existing protocols, of course, I do agree with what the earlier speakers have said. I want to come from this angle. Yeah, yes, STEM is more inclusive in 2024. I can say yes. Some 5 years ago, 6 years, it couldn't, it was not yes, but now it has gotten like it progressed a whole lot. And women are now doing things that some years ago you'd be wondering, what are you doing here? You're still going to end up in your husband's house. But that stereotype has been broken and you see women doing stuff and all of that. Can it be better? Yes, obviously, and a lot can be a lot better. I think for me, the part that I'm, focusing on is women in leadership because you can get to a company and you ask for the board of directors and you're seeing all men and you're wondering what happened. Of course, some of these companies have women in their companies and by the time you get to the leadership positions, you don't see women there. And it was just a question that I just tried to like, okay, what exactly is happening? And one thing I could see is the fact that now, if you have two graduates, male, female, they start together, like start a career together. At some point, well, it's my opinion. I feel men become faster at some point because for a woman, you probably get married, you have kids, and because of how stressful managing that life is, some people opt out to like, okay, I won't work for some years. I'll just stay at home to take care of my kids. And of course, for very valid reasons. I mean, everybody can do what they want to do. But at the end of the day, you see that someone who started the same year female started has gone further in career than somebody who didn't do the same. Of course, it's not like one fits all for everybody, but I think if companies can put measures in place to encourage more women that even despite doing your activities at home or your family, you are still able to catch up and not just lag behind. Because we are not saying put incompetent women there. We are saying please make the environment friendly for women to also get to this leadership position. So yes, in as much as we want women to be in STEM, we also want them to also be leaders in STEM and leaders in their careers. And yeah. So yeah, I think one is, encouraging companies, encouraging organizations to make it more friendly that, okay, if I decide I want to get married, my marriage should not affect my career and all of that. So yeah, I think then of course, like they said, mentorship, I mean, that's really great. It's when you see someone doing something that you hope to do, it's easier to do it. So I think programs like this mentorship program is just like a very great way to help them become better in the next 5 years and that equality we are trying to achieve, happens. So yeah, that's my own opinion on the matter. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Good news. Okay, so let me just emphasize 2 points, right? I love how you mentioned leadership, right? Because that's so important. Because organizations need to be ready to accommodate women. And I think women even also need to be bold enough to, square your shoulders and step into these positions, right? Because I think sometimes too, it's easy to feel like, oh, I'm probably not good enough, or can I, really accommodate the tenacity that this role requires, right? And that's because of the opinions of people around that kind of puts that on us, right? So I like how you mentioned leadership, right? I think definitely, like you said, organizations should definitely be more open to women occupying leadership roles. And women should also boldly position themselves to occupy leadership roles. And just something else you said that just struck me again was in terms of mentorship, there's like networking, like upward upward networking, mentors and people that are ahead of you. But there's also like sideways networking. And so I really want us to take advantage of all that this match program affords to us, right? Because some of the people that are here in this meeting right now, your buddies are like, right? 5-10 years from now, everybody's going to be, doing awesome things in different spaces. And it's the connections and relationships that you build and fostered in this time that would really help, going forward, right? So I think that's something important for us to note, right? To also network sideways, right? Not just upwards, but also sideways. Okay, thank you so much. Good news. Okay, so let's go to Mary James. Hi, Mary. Okay. I think she's on this call already.
Okay,
Okay.
sorry, I
Okay.
was thrown out and I just got back in.
Okay, no problem.
Yes, but I would say that I couldn't agree more with Good News, the lesson that spoke last, because STEM is inclusive now at the first and second cadre of your career journey as a woman. So yes, there are more opportunities. In fact, organizations have quotas for diversity and inclusion. So they want more, it's now a boss thing. We have more women. So they use that marketing and photo ops, but they're more inclusive at that level. But once you start growing and you get to middle management and executive level, the flexibility women to thrive at that level is deficient. That's why you see that there's a lot of women do try to do, or they opt out to do other things, because it's just like an uphill battle, trying to get to that executive level and compete effectively whilst you have so many other things doing. So I think the key is organizations, even with the country, we have to create an ecosystem that allows, that supports women, to give them the flexibility to thrive in their careers whilst they're, knowing that they still have responsibilities outside of the office or outside of work, to thrive in their careers at that executive level. 1 in 7 women are on boards in Africa, so there's also that's the people who are making decisions in these organizations are men who do not understand the unique value that you bring, or the uniqueness that comes to being a woman in such a high pressure technical field. So they are making those decisions, and then it's affecting those in the first and second cadre. It now becomes a vicious cycle. So we need more women, in middle level roles and executive level roles. And also women are very diverse. We are creative, we are multifaceted, and that's what you need at that point, because you're not going to be dealing with nuts and bolts. You're going to be seeing the overall picture. So the kind of skills you need for managing different stakeholders, women are very excellent. We have those, God has given us those kind of skills naturally, and then it's life, you upskill and you also hone those skills and develop them. So I agree very well with the person who spoke last. Yes, STEM is inclusive, but at the first and second cadre, once you start getting to middle management and executive levels, you wouldn't see as many women, um, examples, or as many women thriving, or even the willingness for them to be there at that level, also because of the challenges of it, well, we're making progress and we'll keep making progress.
Okay, thank you so much, Mary. Yes, I think I even like how you put it, in the sense that, women are inclusive in entry level, and, because like you mentioned, most companies have like this inclusion and equality policies now and all of that, right? So, but when you start getting to top management, how are women more included? But I'm even more focused on the last part about women even being, how do I put it, women being encouraged, or women even desiring to be able to hold these positions. Because I think that sometimes, apart from the fact that, these organizations might not instinctively, just allow women, but I think that many times we ourselves kind of put ourselves down, and we just kind of we don't want to take up the challenge, maybe because we're scared, or it just feels like, is this something subconsciously many times, right, just kind of relegate ourselves to the back. And I think that that's a mindset that we need to learn to address. So my last question for tonight to our panel members is full questions wrapped in one, right? So basically, I just want to ask you to give a brief overview of practical tips, right? Because I know that most of people here are early career or mid or at whatever stage, right? I think that all of these tips would definitely be useful to navigating workplace, right? If you are working the workplace as a 9-to-5 corporate work, or maybe as an entrepreneur in business and all of that. But I'd just like us to share practical tips that, number one, helped you to build your own table and to create opportunities for yourself, to step into leadership opportunities, and to communicate your strengths, right? So what are the practical tips that have helped you to position yourself for where you currently are? Practical, like, oh, I did so, I did so, I did this, and this is how I created this opportunity for myself. This is how I communicated this. These were some of the courses I took. And those practical tips that we can pick from, right, and run with, right, going forward. Okay, so I'm just going to be starting with Mercy. Right, let me just give a few minutes so you can gather your thoughts, right? So just practical tips on how you've had to build your table to create opportunities for yourself because of the lack of inclusion, how you've had to learn to communicate your strengths, and practical tips that you would give to the mentees on this call. Who or what has helped foster inclusion in your career, and generally, how have you navigated professional work as a woman in STEM in terms of tips? I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Anyways, so Mercy. Okay. Mercy, do you want to give you a few more minutes?
Yes, sorry. Could you please repeat the question? Sorry.
Okay, so my question is for you to share practical tips that have helped you create opportunities for yourself as a woman in STEM, that have helped you communicate your strengths, that have helped you settle in better as a woman in STEM. Practical tips for the mentees to learn from.
Okay, thank you. I think I can share 2 ways that I have done that. One is to constantly upskill. I think in every field, things are changing every day, and especially in tech, you need new frameworks come every day, new ways of doing things. Things like AI are really big in this year and last year. So knowing these things, so I have really invested a lot in learning and upskilling. And just a good example is now I am doing a master's degree in what I really wanted to be like a proficient in. And this is one of the ways I have done that. And besides just studying or upskilling or gaining practical experience, I also speak about what I do. So I mentor other ladies, and I speak about what I do on LinkedIn and on Medium. I post about what I'm learning and what I know, and I am constantly a champion of celebrating and sharing knowledge. So I really am big on like sharing what you know and being proud about who you are, or what you have learned. For example, if you introduce yourself to someone, you can be quick to say that I am a UX designer, I do this and this, I'm skilled in this and this, or being proud of what you are and the things that you haven't yet learned, challenging yourself and putting timelines so that you can achieve these things. So I think those are the 2 ways that I have done and that I could encourage people to also do that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Mercy, for sharing. So I'll just repeat points I took: upskill and learn, right? upskilling is extremely important, right? So for whatever role it is you are looking towards, right? Because at the end of the day, if you are all, if we're all women should be included, women should be included, women should be included, and you're included, but you don't actually have this stuff that is needed, it's still going to show, and it's still going to, just give everyone an opportunity to say, oh, okay, that's that's the reason why we didn't want this in the first place. So like Mercy mentioned, upskilling and learning is extremely important. Like I said earlier, right? Everything you're learning and for you learning right now is really for yourself. It's building up foundational knowledge for you, right? Before anybody else, right? So thank you. And you also mentioned to, when you meet people, introduce yourself based on what it is that you do or you're passionate about, depending on the scenario. Well, thank you so much, Mercy, for sharing. Thank you. So I'm just going to go to good news now. Yeah, let me give some seconds. So please just walk us through practical tips that you've employed so far on your professional journey that have helped you position yourself to do excellently well where you are currently. Position yourself in communication, publicity, leadership, and just doing exceptional work all around.
Okay, sorry about my background noise to start with. Okay, I will start from where you ended your conversation with the last speaker. One thing I always tell females who come into tech, who come into engineering is know what you're doing, like know your stuff. Of course, because we want to do gender inclusivity, sorry, you are able to get a spot in a company and they take you in. If you don't know what to do, if you don't know what you're doing, if by the time you get there you're not delivering, truth is they'll leave you or they'll get somebody else. So yeah, in as much as yes, we want women to be in tech, we want women to be in engineering, we want women to be in STEM, you have to know what you are doing. You won't say because, well, I'm a female, I should do lesser work. I mean, you're even trying to prove yourself that you should be here in the first place. So my general rule is know what you are doing. Like if you have to study, if you have to go back to school, if you have to take a course, please do it. I mean, let people be proud, like they're comfortable that okay, if we give this person this work, this person is going to deliver. Don't be the one that your boss wants to give you a workout, he's not sure whether to give it to you because the last one they get to you, you did exactly deliver. Just always be at the top of your game, like in your career or whatever it is you're doing. Another thing, like you've also mentioned, there is trying to like collaborate with people, both sideways, upwards, if possible downwards. You can't work alone, you can't do things alone. You need help, like to get from one level of your career to the next level. You need help from different people, different gender, and from a lot of people. So collaborate with your colleagues. Don't be the person that you're not reaching out to your colleagues. Try to know what somebody is doing. Discuss with your colleagues at work, at other places of work. That way you're able to get other opportunities and you know what they are doing, you know what you're supposed to be, you know what you're supposed to apply for. So yeah, those things help you in your career. So I think yeah, so I'll say from my end, I'll say those things help. And one last thing, yeah, which is okay, it's one thing I had to learn by myself. When you're in a place and of course there are male people, there are females, don't be the person that takes the in quotes not so serious work. Now I wouldn't say they are not serious work, but let me give an example. There is a meeting, for example, now, and everybody's dropping ideas. You're not saying anything, and they're like, take the minutes. Now, taking the minutes of a meeting is a very great and excellent job. I mean, those people get paid for it. But once you become, you're always the person that is doing that because you probably wouldn't even give any idea or say anything in that meeting. It kind of positions you in a not so good place because by the time they want to make decisions or they want to like, drop ideas or they'll probably not call you because you're probably not going to say anything. So yeah, always be bold of yourself, always position yourself, always like let people know what you can do. Don't be the silent one, don't be the one that takes lower tax or something just because you don't want to, yeah, whatever. But it's always shine, like let people know what you're doing, don't hide under, they don't know what I'm doing, they can't see me. Yeah, so the idea is always try to prove yourself, even though till you get to a place where you don't have to show that you can do something so that you can be employed or people can take you seriously. Till you get to that space, I think you should, always position yourself in a place that, okay, people can, somebody asks, who do you think is best for this role? Your name comes to mind because they've seen what you've done and what you do. So I think those are the tips I'll do. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. Good news. Those were a lot of helpful tips, right? Thank you. So she just corroborated a lot of things that Mercy said, right? Be the top of your game, right? Because it's just important that you know what it is, you know your stuff, right? Because that's going to be the main judge at the end of the day when you get a seat at the table, right? And collaborate, because many times now a lot of jobs are not even really gotten or opportunities, not only by like, you know, someone posting a job opening, right? Sometimes it's just by communication. Oh, I have a friend who does this and she's good, right? And this relationships that have been built over years, you know, just become very useful for you. And like you said, shine, right? You know, don't take the back seat and just be comfortable doing the easy things, right? Even if it feels like, oh, what they are doing, you don't really know a lot about it, go and learn, right? I remember this year I had to step into a new role, kind of, right, that I really was interested in, right? And apart from interested, I didn't even actually know it. So a lot of times when they're having communications, I was usually lost, and I didn't like that, right? So what did I do? I went back in my, you know, private time. I learned, I got better, and I've even received compliments recently of how I've gotten so much better. This was something that I completely didn't even know. Right. And so this is just a learning point for us to, even if you don't even know what it is they're talking about, or it's not something you're particularly interested in, right? As long as you are there, you have to be relevant to the conversations that they're having. So take time apart, learn from it. Someone might not necessarily call you apart to say, oh, I see you're struggling, let me teach you. No, you might need to be the one that goes out of your way to, you know, learn and all of that. So yeah, thank you so much. Good news. So let's maybe can you just give us practical tips very quickly? Hi, Mary. Okay.
Hello, hi. Okay. I would say for me, there's been knowing that there's no difference between being a man and a woman regarding the quality of work that I deliver. Like, you have to create a reputation for yourself as an outstanding person. Like the person said, that whenever they give you work, there should be this kind of surety that you will deliver, you go above and beyond, you know. So even if you know they started out and they're discriminating against you and you're writing minutes, let your minutes be outstanding. Take the point from the minutes and make suggestions at the next meeting. So you become inclusive, you be the go-to person for what is happening on that project. So just be have outstanding deliverables at the end of the day. And also keep upskilling. I'll say upskilling, learning new skills, applying them within my area of influence. That's really helped me. I just completed my PhD program. It took me 5 years because I was pregnant shortly after I started. But I paced myself, I encouraged myself, and I finished it up. And the learnings I got from there has been phenomenal. You know, applying it at work and the your reputation and the kind of value that you bring, you know, it just takes it from 0 to 100. So you keep up skilling. And I don't keep quiet about my work. I propagate it, I speak about it, I let my boss know what I've done. I send an email, I talk about it. So it's not like, you know, I'm doing this, I'm so modest. Yes, I'm not saying that you should be proud, but if you don't speak about your work, it's going to be taken for granted. And I also believe it's important to get mentors at every stage in your career. So I didn't do that on time. I didn't do that on time, but it's important to get mentors at every stage in your career. These women might not be in your sector, you know, in terms of technological sector, but they should be people that can add value, give you great advice, help you navigate, you know, different areas, and then speak for you in rooms where you can't be in. And you should also remember to pay it forward when the time comes. Do the same for others. And finally, I'll just say that in this digital age, I believe that everyone should, at whatever level, beginner, middle level, executive, whatever level, you should be building a personal brand. So you don't say, oh, I don't have much to offer. No, treat your own horn at the level that you are, the deliverables that you have made, the achievements that you have done, contributions that you've made, even in school, you headed different, you know, programs, you led your colleagues or your classmates on a particular project, whatever contributions you have made, talk about it and build a personal brand. And then, you know, the right people will notice. And that will be it from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mary. A lot of really helpful points, right? Building a reputation as an outstanding person. I think that's just really important. Like you mentioned that. So even if everybody knows that whatever work we do, there's Mary's touch on it, right? This is definitely Mary's work, right? Because of how good it is, right? And so it just means you're going to have to sometimes go the extra mile, put the extra effort to ensure that your work is excellent. So yes, that's important. And I want to emphasize on the part that you mentioned about talking about it, right? Because that's just really important. I feel like while in school, we were really taught a lot of this talking about it thing, right? Because most of the opportunities that you apply for right now, if you apply for like fellowships or like maybe school applications or anything, right? Managerial, graduate uni, they kind of want to know beyond your academic first. They want to know the leadership positions that you've handled. They want to know the projects that you've done and you've seen it through, right? Even if it's just like a simple project. So like, being able to recognize that even your experiences at whatever sphere that you are is still relevant in the sense that if you manage a team of people, even if it was like a church fellowship, you manage people and you were able to do something, right? That's still a managerial skill. So I think it's important that we need to talk about what it is that we have done. Use LinkedIn. If you're not sure how to write, look at write-ups of some people, kind of tailor it to what it is you want. There's ChatGPT, but make sure to have your own voice, right? And just communicate your strengths, communicate what it is that you are doing. Because if you don't say it, nobody's going to know. I think that's something I've had to learn. You might have people in your contact list that they need someone that is an expert in a particular thing, but they don't actually know that you are good at that thing because they do not know. You've never said it. You don't talk about it. It's not a brand identity. Like now, if I want to get something, there's a particular person that comes to my mind because of how passionate and how frequent that person has been concerning that thing. And so it's important for us to build a personal brand of what we want to be known for, right? So I'm just going to take Yami finally, and she's going to take us through practical tips concerning our professional journey that we can scale to ours. Thank you, Yami.
Thank you. Yeah, so I think the person I would mention, and it ties back to I think it was Marie who spoke just earlier on, what she said about communicating your value. And I will look at it from the angle of being able to understand what you bring to the table, right? So when I was looking to enter into the tech space fully, I didn't have a tech background or an engineering background. I read adult education and political science in school. Like it's a very far field from where I am currently. But I mean, after that, I'd, done a couple of other things, volunteered here, done some other jobs, right? And I had to be able to find a way to tie in the skills that I had built, the experiences that I had from all of those into what it is that I was eventually going to be doing and where I saw myself going. So I applied for a customer success role at CAWSTEM because I knew that I probably wasn't going to get it. I mean, I was finding it difficult to even get a product role, right? And so the option for me at that time was to look at possibly going through a transitioning journey. And that means that I had to be able to communicate and say, these are the things that I've been doing, and this is how I think it can fit into, into the work that I will come here to do. And honestly, from my interview, we already started having conversations about um, where I saw myself heading towards, right? And we had some initial conversations about, so if you come in, it looks like what your career trajectory will be is product management. And I'm like, yes, 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 that's what I want, right? But I think it was first of all me understanding where I want to get to, and then being able to see how my different skills and experiences, right, kind of tying to into wherever I happen to find myself and just fitting that, being able to tell that story, right? So I would say understanding like the value that you bring. And I want to mention that even down to your soft skills. So I I think someone gave me like a compliment and mentioned something about how reliable I was. And to me, I felt like, I mean, what's that? It's not real skill, right? Because it's not technical. But I eventually realized that you don't actually get to, I mean, not everybody, right, that you get to work with will turn out to be reliable. And having people that you can trust to deliver on the job is a big deal. right? So when I'm saying understand the value you bring, I'm not just talking about technical skills, but even down to your soft skills, right? What are the things that you're good at, right? Are you someone that is dependable? That's actually a good trait, and it's something that you can use to sell yourself, or communicate as part of the value that you can bring into a team. Are you orderly? Are you detailed, right? These things are actually important, as easy as it might be to dismiss them. And then I think the second thing I would just touch on, and it's something that has come up repeatedly, would have to do with upskilling, right? Constantly learning and growing. So one thing I do for myself every year um is, so the first thing was I made sure that I have an understanding of what it takes to excel in my role, right? Like if I'm going to be the best product manager that I can be, what are the things that I need to know? What are the areas of competence that I need to develop, right? And then having that understanding. So each year I look at it and I'm like, where am I currently excelling, and then where do I feel like I still need to grow some more? And I use that to guide, maybe the books that I'm reading, the kind of courses that I'm taking, the conversations that I'm having, the articles that I jump on top of. But that upskilling, you need to constantly work on building yourself and learning things, right? There's nothing wrong with also going back to some of the things that you have learned, right? Just as a way to remind yourself, because you can hear something the first time and maybe it's the first sentence that makes sense. And then you hear it again, and this time it's like the second or the third one, right? And you always find something new to pick from it. So I would say giving yourself to learning is super, super important. And it's one of the things that I know has personally helped me. So each year I'll probably call it like my own personal appraiser, right? And I'm looking at what area do I feel like when it comes to excelling in this field or in this role that I'm currently passionate and focused about, what area of competence do I feel like I'm still not doing so well, right? And I also do that because I don't want to wear myself out trying to learn everything at once. So I look at what is the most pressing thing for me to pay attention to, and I kind of use that to guide what I would be learning. It doesn't necessarily mean that other things might not come up, but I know that for me, this is what is priority. And yeah, and I pay attention to that. And then I think the third thing I'll just add real quick is having that, and this is probably for people who are already working in an organization. And I think for me, one thing that also helps is having clarity with respect to expectation, right? Because it's very possible for you to work at a place and think that you're giving your best. And then appraisal comes around the corner and you realize that your boss is saying something else and you think you are completely in like a different direction. So having an understanding of what success looks like from your team lead or your boss's perspective, and then being able to tie your goals right into that as well. And I think even for you, it maybe gives you perspective to know if the kind of growth, the kind of career that you're looking to build for yourself, if it's still feasible where you're at, or if you actually need to start thinking of your next plan, right? Or if you need to have like certain conversations with your boss and have certain things reviewed, so that you're not waiting till the tail end of the year and then it's like, what exactly did I even achieve? Or you're getting remarks that just make you feel like you're not being valued. But in the real sense, it was probably just that they had different expectations, you had different expectations, and there's that misalignment, and it's just creating problems at the end of the day. So yeah, those would be the three things I would, three tips that I'd share. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Yami. To communicate your value, identify specific areas of competence that you need to upskill. So it doesn't seem like you're just learning everything, and then clarify expectations. I think those are really important tips, right? These are generally very important tips that would help anybody scale in workplace and generally, to be honest, across life, right? So thank you so much, Yami. So thank you to our beautiful panel members and our beautiful mentees who have stayed with us till now. Right, I don't know if anyone has any questions or anything they would like to be answered. And I see Shikemi is on the call. I don't know if you have anything to share Shikemi Owamide, if you have anything you'd like to share with the mentees just very quickly before we end today's session, can just signify. Okay.
Okay. I wasn't expecting that. Okay. Hi, everybody. Good evening. I think everybody should be in the evening now. And thank you to the panelists. I've actually been taking some interesting notes. I could resonate with quite a number of things that that you shared. But one of the things that I want to layer on the last call to action that I think it was Yami said around know your values, and I think Shadona talked about building your personal brand, you know, at whatever level of your career that you're in. And that's something that I've taken up in the last 2-3 years. So one of the things I could share is whenever you're trying to communicate your value, I want to share a template or some sort of formula that you can use to articulate, you know, what you bring to the table. So I usually ask people to answer 4 questions. And I think that could be a good way to kind of kickstart that journey for you. So the first question is, what do you do? And this is important because you don't want to start to explain too much about what you do. You need to be able to say it in 2 words. Most times it could be a job title, but sometimes it may not be a job title, especially when your job title is a bit convoluted. So what do you do? That's question number 1. Number 2 is, who do you do it for? And it gives you time to think about all the experiences you've had and kind of articulate what is common. It could be an industry, it could be a type of company, it could be a type of a stage of a company. So it could be startups, it could be the guys that are looking for funding, it could be the guys that are already capitalized or established and stuff like that. So what you do, who you do it for. The third one, which is the most important one, is what is their problem when they come to you? So you need to be able to articulate, for example, I've forgotten who mentioned about how, I think the person before Yami was talking about how even if you are taking notes, take excellent notes, right? What was the problem with note taking before you came to that particular, you know, to that particular setting? It could be, you know, and you'd be surprised that note taking was actually costing lots of money, even though they did not paint it that way. So third question is, what was the problem that they had or are having before you came to the picture? And then the last question for you to answer is, what was different about the way you addressed it? And this one could be tricky, but if you get it right, it's very powerful. I have somebody that is an operations person, right? And what is different about the way they do their operations is that they do operations, they do improvements without losing employee morale. Now, if you understand what that means, you understand that it's not easy to do transformation without upsetting somebody or making somebody quit in anger. The fact that they're able to do it without, you know, losing employee morale is very powerful. So that would be my 2 cents, that if you want to either answer the question of what your value is or what your personal brand is positioned for, I think those 4 questions are very good to go through. And trust me, it's going to be an iteration until you land into that thing that just goes, wow, this is it. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Shikemi. Hey, wow, thank God I called on you. Thank you for these 4 questions. They're specific, and I feel like answering these questions, like you said, already just kind of already answers, you know, gives an idea to the brand that you're specific to. So thank you so much, Shikemi. Really helpful tips. Thank you really much. I hope we all got the questions right to be shared, just so that just in case anybody missed the questions, right? So I think I'm not sure if Wamide has something to say. We have a few more minutes before we leave. Hi, Wami.
Hi everyone. Hi, I can hear you. Okay, so I think the 2 key things that I will add, along with all the amazing things that people have shared, is of course being true to yourself, and then being comfortable in navigating the path less traveled. I think that as STEM women, we'll oftentimes find ourselves as being minorities in the room, but it's not the time to hold back or be shy or feel like you don't matter. So be comfortable with navigating that path, even if it seems like there are not many people there. But the way that you would also be able to do that is if you're also clear about who you are, what you bring to the table, and why you are even on this journey. I always say that anybody that's in tech or in STEM shouldn't be doing it because it sounds like the next best thing. There's a place for that, but ultimately, it should always be about what resonates for you and what brings you the most fulfillment or impact. So, as you navigate your career, there might be decision points you will get to where you're like asking yourself, can I, should I, will I, and things like that. I just say be courageous and comfortable in taking the path less traveled.
Okay, thank you so much, Mami. Thank you very much. That was very helpful. Be comfortable in taking the path less traveled, right? It's going to be inconvenient and unfamiliar, but just woman up, right? Like we learned earlier, we're multifaceted and we can do a lot, right? So I want to say thank you so much to all of the mentors, all of the panelists, every single mentee for your rapt attention and for your time. Thank you so much, right? So tomorrow is International Women's Day. And I urge you to please be excited about it, right? Post pictures, share it. In fact, post on LinkedIn, tag CAWSTEM. We're going to, repost and like all over, right? So I hope just share pictures, inspire the coming generation, because like I said, we're building legacies, we're building generation. And I also want to thank, okay, I think she's no longer here. Anyway, thank you so much, everyone, for your time for this session. The reflection worksheet link will be sent sometime tomorrow, and we're going to be having another amazing session next week. So if you have any questions concerning, career or anything, that's what M.A.T.C.H is here for, right? We're here to help you and guide you every step of the way. Like I said, when I left school a few years back, I was completely clueless, right? I'm thankful for CAWSTEM as a community and what it helped me be able to, do so far. So, right, if you have questions, if you have concerns, please reach out and relate with your mentor, ask questions. I'm sure we're going to do amazing. So gift a STEM woman. Okay, not necessarily a STEM woman. Gift a woman, tomorrow, right? And just be excited about IWD, right? So thank you so much for waiting to the end of the session. Have a beautiful night. Any questions, any more announcements? I don't think so. Okay, Deborah, you want to say something? You can unmute.
Hi, good
Very quick.
evening, everyone.
Hi, good evening. Okay, can you hear me? You can go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you so much to the speakers. That was really insightful. So I have a quick question, right? So I currently work as a mobile engineer.
Right. Okay, I can hear you.
I'm doing very well. I'll say things. Okay. So and then I have another interest, which is for program. And most times I find organizing programs. Can you still hear me?
Okay, I can. It seems like you're breaking. Can you try to kind of be fast, just so we don't keep people for too long? So I'm
Okay.
getting you want to transition into programs. That's like another
No,
interest.
no.
Okay, yeah.
No, so I'm not transitioning into program. It's just another part of me that I
Okay.
enjoy doing aside working, coding and doing every other thing that pertains to my current career path. So, but I just took some time to reflect last week after the CAWSTEM section, and then I noticed that okay, this is something I've always been involved in. So now I don't. know
Okay.
how do I, but because both of them are the kind of strength without letting go of any and just focus.
Okay, so you went off for a bit there, but I'm just going to
So
try to get what you said. Is this my network or is this Deborah's network? I'm not too sure, but okay, you
It's
have two
Deborah's
interests.
network.
You have two interests and you're not sure how to, manage both of these interests since they are both very demanding. I think that's what you're trying to see, right? I'm not very sure. Okay,
Yes,
but
yes, yes.
okay. So, does anyone want to help us with that? Just very quickly. Any of the panelists, mentors, just something that could help Deborah. Okay. Anyone? Okay, thank you.
I don't know if it's fine to talk. Okay, I'm not sure I got your question completely, but I had, okay, you are doing something, you have another interest, what should you do if I'm correct? If that's what you want to know. Well, if I'm going to speak on that, I kind of relate because that's exactly my life. But one thing I always say is if you have another interest in something, you're doing something, don't leave what you're doing and go into the other thing. I mean, slowly test waters. By what I mean is you can start taking maybe volunteer roles, remote opportunities in what you love to do, and find a way to get a balance in it. I'll give an example now. I'm doing electronics engineering, but I've done biomedical engineering too. Of course, they look alike because it's still engineering, but they're like one is engineering healthcare, one is engineering power electronics, and I've always wanted biomedical engineering, but in Nigeria, that option is not like so well known. But somehow I was able to do a master's in that field. But then because I was already in like the renewable energy world and all of that, I was doing well and progressing in my career. I decided not to leave and I continued like I was just able to like find a balance. Because if I had left, it means I had to go and like start from ground zero in biomedical engineering. Of course, not easy because it's like a whole lot of energy. I mean, you're supposed to be doing something now, maybe your leisure time, but you're trying to combine two careers and all of that. So one thing I always say is start slow. Don't, oh, I have interest in this and jump out and go to that. Take time, take 1, 2, 3 years, try to understand, okay, is this really what I want? Or I like people that do this thing. Do I think I want to switch? Then you slowly switch into it. Take entry roles or volunteer roles. Just try to start slowly building up that part. Then when you get to a point that you see that, okay, I can make that switch and you won't get affected, maybe like financially or emotionally or trying to get a job, then you can make that switch. But at the moment, take time out to, try to balance the two. Don't leave what you are doing because eventually you might find out that you think you just like the idea, you really do not want to build a career in that field. I don't know if what I said answered the question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Good news. I think you really answered Deborah's question. And what you said was just very similar to what Wamide also answered, in the group chat, Deborah. She said you can have multiple interests, but you don't have to feel pressure to explore a career in it right away. So just like Good News said, just take it slow, right? And just see how it goes. And if you need like, personalized, tailored, direction and that, Wamide is, an expert on switching careers, right? And so you can, with all of your full chest, just reach out to Wamide for more personalized direction on how to manage your multiple interests in case you have interest in switching. Anyways, so thank you so much everyone for joining us this evening. Apologies, I've taken I think 5 more minutes, right? But it was a great time. And like I said, I'm excited about IWD this month. I hope you are. If you're not, please just find it somewhere and, bring it out, right? Share tomorrow, post pictures, tag CAWSTEM, and just have a completely chill day. Learn, upskill, and go over all that we mentioned in today's training. The video is going to be shared so that we can just keep track of all we've heard and learned. So thank you so much again to our panelists. Thank you, our speakers. Thank you, our mentees. Have a beautiful night. Thank you.
Thank you.